Nathan, I'm 10 years older than you, so I'm going to take the stairs. Thank you, Ashley. Ashley talks about inauthentic conversations. Ooh, wow, it's bright. Took my sweater off. And there are 7 different ways you can communicate with someone until Ashley sends you a voice note. And it means the world, so thank you for doing those. Those mean a lot. My name is Lee Forsberg, and I'm a 35-year-old entrepreneur, business owner in the city. But I don't define myself as that. I'm just here to talk to you about that tonight. I'm not an immigrant. I didn't come from a tough upbringing. I'm 5'10", I'm 175 pounds, and I have a 9 shoe size. I'm literally the most basic white guy that you will see. If I go shopping, it's actually pretty easy to find stuff because there's a lot of me out there. I didn't come from a tough upbringing. I am the product of 2 hardworking parents. Those 2 hardworking parents each had 2 to 3 jobs while I grew up so that I could play sports, so that my sister could play sports, both of them. They taught me really good values in life. I'll never forget my dad told me, Lee, the girl that no one thinks is pretty, be nice to that girl. Because one day she's going to grow up, she's going to be pretty, she's going to be successful, and she's going to remember the kid that was nice to her in elementary school. And so that always stuck with me, not just for the girls, but for the guys as well. I always tried to treat people like they should. But like I said, I played a lot of sports. And it's weird because I don't define myself by playing sports, but I have my most vivid memories of playing sports. And more vividly, I can remember every single mistake that I made as an athlete. I can sit here and tell you that in grade 8, I was 13, and I fumbled the ball at the 50-yard line in the city final game, and no one touched me. It just slipped out of my hands. I can tell you that in the city final game in grade 12, my quarterback threw 4 interceptions, and one of them was my fault. I can tell you that in that same game, I dropped a 2nd and 10 hook route for a first down. I can tell you that in baseball that year, in the city final, I went 0 for 4, even though we won. 2 weeks later, although I batted .600 and I was the top center fielder in Canada in 2002, I actually hit into a double play to lose as a game, and I remember it vividly. I can remember that in 2005, I dropped a game-winning touchdown pass against rival Saskatoon Hilltops. It's weird that I can remember those things, but I can very vividly. And it's because I really don't like to lose. And I put so much pressure on myself as a kid, and now, that I actually hate losing more than I like winning, if that makes sense. It's weird, right? I expect to win, so I hate losing so much. Now, like all good things, being an athlete comes to an end. So I realized too late, I have cue cards just in case I lose myself here, and it's okay because Joe Kim read off pages, so I feel okay. Thank you for doing that. It came to an end. I actually realized too late that I didn't have a work ethic to play sports to get to the next level. And I could say that because one of my best friends, Paul Waldo, who's here tonight, had a work ethic like no other, and I just didn't have that, and it was too late. I'd missed an opportunity to play baseball. I was a better baseball player than football player, and by the time I realized it, I was 22. So that ship had sailed. So I went back into business. So I went back into the U of R after having a human justice degree, and it's really hard to actually look at the crowd because that light is just like on you. So I'll just continue to look down and squint at you guys. So I went back into business, and I was behind the 8 ball because I already had a degree, so my goal was to leapfrog. So I actually became the Student Society president at the Hill School of Business, and at the same time I joined the business competition called JDC West on the entrepreneurship team, and we had won 2nd in Western Canada that year. And I was winning in my mind. It was great. And like Nathan and Joachim, I decided to leave the city after to try to find a work ethic. So I moved to Edmonton, and I studied finance for a year, wrote my test, and then I started a book of business in finance. And I was really good at it. I was really good at raising capital for companies. I got awards for it, and I was successful. Life was good. I was winning. And then 2 companies committed fraud, and obviously it's not my fault they committed fraud, but I had friends and family and my own capital in those investments, and it stung. It stung bad because I couldn't control that. I put my clients, my money, my family's money, my friends' money into these investments, but I didn't have control over it. And these guys committed fraud, so I carried that burden with me, and I couldn't do it anymore. I lost. So I vowed I was never going to do that again. So in 2015, I moved home. I'd started a development company with my business partner, and I went and raised money on something that I can control. So we started out, we raised some money, and we built 5 revenue houses in Harbor Landing, and it was great. They were successful, they're still successful, and it's fun. I was winning. And then we realized how much money the construction company made off of us, and we thought to ourselves, you know what, we can do that. We can start a construction company, we'll just hire someone to do it. So that's what we did. This was a franchise home building company, so we could buy into the franchise. That's what we did. We hired a project manager, and we went and built 6 more houses. And it was great. We were successful on the development side. We were successful on the construction side. Life was good. We started building more revenue houses for ourselves, for clients. We started building custom homes for people. Life was great. And then we had enough doors that we figured, okay, we're going to start a property management company. So that's what we did. We found a girl that took a leap with us. She's amazing. She said, I want to join you guys in your vision, and I want to start a property management company with you. So now we have construction, we have development, and we have property management. Things are ticking along. Things are great. Life is good. I am winning in my mind. And then it hits. The company that we had bought into was not really the company we thought it was. They were doing stuff behind our backs. The communication was poor. We were on an island. There was no support. Then it hit again. The project manager we had hired stole from us, committed fraud, cost us over 6 figures, and we didn't see it coming. Then it hit again. I physically couldn't be involved with this company anymore. The communication was poor. It was causing me stress. I wasn't sleeping at night. There was no commitment. There was no teamwork. It was tough. Then it hit again. My best friend dies. Talking about it on the mic's a little bit more difficult. He drinks himself to death. My roommate in Edmonton for 3 years. So that was tough. I'm looking at Ash here for some strength. Has anyone got a glass of water? I think I left one out there. It's my sister, everybody. I'm just about to talk about her. On top of it, my lovely sister that just brought me water is going through a divorce in Vancouver. Of course, it's not my divorce, but she's my sister, and she's one of my best friends, so I feel responsible. Her husband's kind of stealing from her, stealing from the company, falsifying numbers to try to get the company to look better on paper so that he can get bought out. And I'm carrying this burden with me. And it's tough. I'm losing. And I'm losing tough. And I haven't told many people this story, but I actually was making a trip to Phoenix last year because my parents had bought a vehicle here. My parents are in their high 60s, and I didn't want them behind the wheel for 4 days. And I kind of wanted to make this trip to Phoenix because it was a bucket list thing. I get to go down the West Coast and see the whole thing, and it's beautiful countryside. And so I started making the trip down, and I stop off in Portland. A friend of mine works in Portland at Nike. And I don't know if many people know what Nike's like. There's a headquarters there, and they have about 15 buildings, and every single building is named after a major athlete. So they have the Pete Sampras building. They have the Michael Jordan building. They have the Bo Jackson Wellness Facility. And they have a Mia Hamm building. So one morning, we wake up, we go to work at Nike, and we go to the Mia Hamm building, and we have breakfast. We're sitting there eating breakfast, and Simon looks back and goes, holy shit, he's here. He goes, but don't look. And of course, when someone says don't look, what do? You look. And sure enough, there enters LeBron James. 6'8", 240 pounds, and he is everything that you could possibly imagine. The guy is a monster. And I'm like, holy shit. But at Nike, you can't fan out. You can't go up to him and ask for a picture or try to get an autograph or sign my shoes or my jersey. You have to pretend like they're just a regular person or an employee. So I kind of ignore it, go back to working on my computer. He grabs breakfast around the bar, comes back, and sits right beside me at a table. And I'm like, holy shit, this is awesome. How can I take a picture without anyone noticing? So I get on my phone, I start texting my friends, and I kind of like turn my phone over, snap a pic, looking around, hopefully no one kicks me out of Nike headquarters. And I go back to doing my work, and I decided to take a walk around campus. It's a beautiful, beautiful place. So I took a walk, and then later on that day, LeBron was actually in a kickball tournament to raise money for kids. Some team had won a kickball tournament a couple weeks earlier, and they got to play LeBron and his friends and some employees at Nike. 6,000 people showed up. There was music. There was a little baseball field, big dodgeball that you see in the United States, not like the little ones we have here. And they play in this kickball tournament. And it hits me. I look at this guy, and I say, holy shit, that guy was born in the exact same year I was. He's at the peak of his life right now, and I'm fucking failing at every level. So I'm going to read you a part of my journal. Now, I want to thank Paul, because I actually forgot my journal tonight. And then Joe Kim's talking, and he reads about journaling in Toronto, and I go, I forgot my fucking journal. Like, call Paul, because he's putting his kid to bed. I was like, have you left yet? Because he lives across the street from me, and he went and grabbed it. So thank you for doing that, Paul. August 23rd, 2018, 7:30 wake-up call to get to Nike early. I sat down for breakfast with Simon in the Mia Hamm building, asked if we'll see athletes, and he said maybe, but basketball players don't show up this early. It was 8:30. LeBron walked in 2 minutes later. He sits right beside me, had breakfast, and talks shoes with his team. He's here to play in a kickball tournament. I told my friends about it, and the responses I got were, prove it. Ask him if you can feature him in dim. Be a man. Approach him. Get autographs. Who cares what anyone else says? They were saying some pretty negative stuff. I wasn't a big fan of it. I got through some emails and had some anxiety over the job that our project manager had lost so much money on, and I hated it. I need this over. I walked over to see the kickball tournament, but really analyzed LeBron. He's an amazing human to watch. He's competitive as fuck, was chirping everyone and anyone. He was dancing, high-fiving, singing, playing with the kids. What a show. And they won. The guy doesn't even play the sport, and he wants to win. I love it. But this really makes me question myself. I want to make an impact in this world. I want to be successful. I want to be the best at what I do. But is it real estate? Is it development? Am I doing what I'm supposed to be doing? I don't feel right. I feel like I'm losing. I'm stagnant. Is this my purpose? All of this is creating anxiety in my life. I need to leave this construction partnership that we had. Unfortunately, I can't say who it is. I need to do my own thing. I know I'm good at development. I know I'm good at telling a story. I know I'm good at communicating, selling, analyzing. But where can I use that the most? Should I coach? Am I happy right now? ... I wrote no 2 hours later. Do I do this for one more year and see how it goes? Should I write? Should I vlog? I want to inspire. I'm supposed to inspire, but I don't know how. I also have what I spent that day, but I don't think that really matters to you guys. I was sitting there analyzing LeBron, but the reality was I couldn't even appreciate the fact that he was probably raising 6 figures for a children's organization. I was jealous, but really I just hated myself. What I'd become, my failures had literally encapsulated me in that moment. I should be happy. I'm in some places where a lot of people here would be like, I wanted to be there. And I couldn't even appreciate the moment. I didn't realize this at the time, but I actually had carried that burden with me. I just buried it down. And I keep busy, so it just buried it, and I forgot about it. Until 2 months later, I do a trip every single year with 2 really close friends of mine. And what it is it's a surprise trip. So you have to get to New York. You don't know where you're going. You're told what to pack. And then you get to New York and you get handed your boarding pass and you're saying, this is where we're going. Pretty cool, right? And I get to do it with 2 really cool people. So I get to New York. Keenan hands me a boarding pass and says, we're going to Norway. I'm thrilled. My grandpa's from Norway. My grandma's from Sweden. I'm going home. I get to see my ancestors. This is amazing. So we go through security. We grab a beer. We grab a bite to eat. We're sitting down, snowstorm in New York, 3-hour delay. So I'm sitting there texting, and my finger goes numb. I'm like, oh, that's weird. I can't really text with my thumb, so I kind of move to my index. And then my foot goes numb. I'm thinking to myself, that's weird. I've never had my thumb and my foot go numb. I don't think anything of it. And then I can feel it crawling up my leg. And I'm like, oh, okay, this is weird. It's in my knee. And then I feel it crawl up into my elbow. I'm like, okay. And now it's in my chest. And now it's fully encapsulated in my leg. I think I'm having a stroke. So I call Keenan over. And I'm like, hey, man, I think I'm having a stroke. He's like, what? I'm like, I can't feel anything on the left side of my body. And I got 50% vision in my left eye right now. He goes, oh, man, you're not having a stroke. You're having a panic attack. Keenan is not a fucking doctor. This very well could have been a stroke. But I take his advice. And I go, how am I having a stroke when I'm about to board a plane to go to the most peaceful place on the planet? We're chasing the Northern Lights. That was the goal of this trip. And he goes, think about it. Our company's struggling. You've gone through some personal shit. You're having a panic attack. And then it hits me. Yeah, I'm still not over the fact that one of my best friends died. I'm still not over the fact that my sister's going through some shit and I can't help her. I can't really help my company right now. I don't even know what to do. This is fully a panic attack. So I go into the corner of the airport, put on some meditation music, start focusing on my breathing, and it subsides. Go get some Tylenol, turns into a massive headache. Vividly remember the headache. Board the flight, go on my trip. As an entrepreneur, you feel every single day that you need to be 100%. You can't just wake up for 2 weeks and say, nah, not today. I'm not giving my job 100% today. It's tough. That's the mentality that you have, that you ingrain in yourself. You listen to these things all the time. You read these things all the time. Oh, you're an entrepreneur. You need to be the best every single day. You are the best every single day. Go get it. Be the best. It's bullshit. So I started to think. I said, okay, let's compare myself to LeBron for a second. Not money-wise. LeBron James does not play 82 games perfectly in a year. And I'm a numbers guy, so I'm going to break this down in numbers. He probably has 15 bad games in a year. 15 out of 82 is 20%, roughly. So, okay, He admits probably 15 times in a year that he played like shit. Didn't play well, passed the ball well, too many turnovers, didn't make the shot, whatever the case may be. Didn't give 100%, or wasn't 100%. So, there's 2,080 work hours in a year. I'm going to take 20% of that. What is that? It's 416-ish. So let's round to 400. 40 hours in a week. 10 weeks is 400. It's 2.5 months out of the year that it's okay to not be 100%. Despite what you read, despite what you listen to, despite what people tell you, it's okay. And so I had to tell myself that. And it's tough. So that's what I did. It's helped. And I think I forgot where I'm supposed to be talking about now, so I'm just going to grab these little cue cards back here. I actually do have to read off something, so this is fine. So I'm going to kind of talk about where I am now, because I've learned this. And so there's 5 things that I wrote down that I think are important. If you are one that chases that or has had issues or is like me and doesn't like losing, but needs to accept it. So where am I now? What have I learned? I now know exactly when my glass is full and about to tip over. You've heard the saying, but I can actually pinpoint exactly when my glass is too full. So this happened 2 weeks ago. I was in my room and I was folding clothes. I was stressed because many people don't know, but we bought a building a couple years ago. It's 105 years old, called St. Chad's. And it's a beautiful building, but it is a financial burden, and it's tough. But we're about to start construction. We did 2 days ago. And so this is weighing on me. And so I could feel my cup becoming full. So I took a step back. I took some breaths. My blood feels like it's just tipping out the top of my head. I wait about 30 seconds, and then I go back to doing what I'm doing. And then it comes back about 30 seconds later, and I'm like, oh, nope, that didn't work. So then I go back into my bed, I lay down, put some music in my ears, listen to some meditation music, and then it goes away. So I can actually pinpoint this now. So I take that as a blessing, what happened to me in that airport. Number 2, nobody is perfect. Nobody wins all the time. Trying to be great is a double-edged sword. It can drive you to freedom, but it can also drive you to bondage and being a slave of ambition. And now your ambition goes from being your ally to your worst enemy. I know I want to win all the time, but I can't. And thinking like this has costed me personal relationships and damaged existing ones. I cannot take anything back. I know that. But I can change how I am going forward. This is my favorite one. Comparing my chapter 3 to someone else's chapter 11 is a dangerous fucking thing to do. I have always been a late bloomer. I was always the smallest guy on the football field. I was always the smallest guy on the baseball field. I was always the smallest guy on the basketball court. I was always the longest to read everything. I had to read it twice, and that's okay. I have to be okay with that. My success will come. It is coming. I just have to be a little bit later than others, and that's okay. Number 4, there is mud in this world, and there's darkness in this world. But like a lotus flower, that stuff grows in the darkness and in the mud. I'll grow. And in order to grow, you must first have the mud. You must have the obstacles, the sufferings. That's the mud. And if I could get through it, I'll grow. Number 5, I'm still in it. I'm still battling. I'm still growing. I'm still losing. I'm still winning. But I'm also still in the fight. And if I lose, fuck it. I'll figure it out. So, what's important to me now? Because before I was just so focused on winning and what it looked like to be successful. So, now what looks important to me? Self-care. Rest, quality sleep, eating right, keeping my bench short. There was a saying that I heard a couple weeks ago where you just don't need everyone on the bench. Keep it short. I'm going to focus on the tasks rather than the outcomes. The outcomes will come. My family is my rock. Man, they saved me. Okay. Lastly, quality conversations. If you ask me how I'm doing, 99% of the time I'm going to tell you exactly how I'm doing. I'm not going to fucking fluff it. But if you're here tonight and you ask me how I'm doing, you better be prepared because I'm going to ask you and I'm going to dig right back. I believe in vulnerability to its fullest. Hence why I'm up here. Because that's how we learn. If we don't open up, how do you heal? Thank you.